Well, just this morning, Governor Mike Braun of Indiana announced he is going to call a special session to work on changing his state's voting map. CBS News correspondent Shanelle Kaul live on that story from New York. So yet another state looking to redraw maps. Shanelle, tell us about this one.
Yeah, Reed, good to be with you this morning. This becomes now the latest state to try to do this. Why? Well, because the Trump administration asked them to do this because they're trying to keep control of the House ahead of next year's midterm election. So let's show you how this announcement came through to our newsroom. Want to bring up this social media post from Governor Mike Braun. It says, "I am calling a special legislative session to protect Hoosiers from efforts in other states that seek to diminish their voice in Washington and ensure their representation in Congress is fair. I'm also asking the legislature to conform Indiana's tax code with new federal tax provisions to ensure stability and certainty for taxpayers and tax preparers for 2026 filings." Now, I do want to note that this comes, weeks after we've seen criticism about redistricting from not just Democrats, but also from Republicans, Reed. In fact, we've also seen some protests erupt in the last few months in Indiana. We've seen protests there in August, in September, and in October. I want to bring up now some photos. Here they are. Just about a month ago in Indiana specifically. These fights, we know, Reed, have also spilled into some other states. You might remember what happened in Texas, where dozens of Texas lawmakers actually left the state, most of them going to Illinois, trying to escape a special session vote on redistricting there. They were successful in sort of kicking it down the can, but ultimately they did have to return. They did have to sit through that vote. And because they have a minority, it did go through and it was approved. The same has happened in some other states. I want to show you a map of some other states across the country where we've already seen this happen. So not just Texas, but also North Carolina and Missouri approving these new voting maps ahead of next year's midterms. As for what happens in Indiana, Reed, we know that special session that is expected to happen sometime next week. And the reason we're keeping such a close eye on this and this matters so much is because the stakes are so high here. The Democrats really only need 3 House seats in order to get control.
All right, Shanelle Kaul watching that for us. Thank you so much, friend.